All right. So, Jason, sometimes you and I drop little things that hint at our personal lives, tell little anecdotes, mention things about our past and our experience and something like that. This one's going to get way deep into my personal life, but it's just so interesting and fascinating that I just really want to share what I've been observing with the podcast audience.
So Tim's digital haircut was fairly personal. Are you saying you're going to get more personal?
It's going to get more personal than my haircut. I need a haircut, by the way, but
so do I.
I'll get one when I get home. So I have fairly recently returned to the dating pool. And as a, how are the ways certainly that I used to meet people the first time around? It was, friends of friends, you meet them at work, you meet them at school. Well, I'm not in school. You can't date anybody at work. That's definitely not safe. And my friends are pretty consistent at this point. So I've met all the friends of all my friends. So how are you going to meet new people? So I went ahead and I have done the thing and I have gone into the world of online dating. And when I went into the world of online dating without realizing it, I also introduced myself to the world of attempted catfishing.
Tim, I'm going to let you.
I want to talk about my experience with would-be catfishers.
I'm going to pause you right there.
Okay.
And I'm going to let you take a breath. And all I'm going to say is this. I'm fascinated. So is our audience.
So am I.
But why on the Root Causes podcast are we talking about this? And I'll tell you what. You mentioned a few things.
Yeah.
One is trust. You talked about how organizations of people that family, friends, colleagues, who all through chains of trust could introduce relationships of trust.
Yeah.
You also mentioned, this idea that you are attesting yourself onto a platform online where people don't have trust, don't know each other.
Right.
And therefore there's identity ambiguity.
There's absolutely an online identity aspect to this for sure.
So we are talking about identity, trust, and social engineering.
Absolutely.
That's why he's on this podcast.
And it's a social engineering exercise. I mean, it's got the word phishing right in it. Right. And just in case anybody doesn't know, what catfishing means is going to an online social media platform, pretending to be somebody you're not, for the explicit purposes of creating a personal relationship with the promise of romantic connection, ultimately for purposes of getting some kind of fraudulent monetary theft out of the target. And catfishing itself is not new, but my firsthand experiences with it are new. And I think I have some interesting observations about how to make it very, very current.
I am all ears, Tim.
So, I don't have any notes, so I'm going off the top of my head. So, didn't occur to me at all that this would be part of this adventure until I encountered my first catfisher, and I didn't even realize it at first, right? So they pretend to be real people, and they've got photos, and they've got profiles, and they'll chat with you and all this stuff. And you start until the conversation wends its way around to, I'm in distress, I'm in trouble, I need money for this thing. Right?
Yeah. Having lived
in this world a long time, I immediately said, and it's funny. I'm going to use a swear. I hope that's okay. I was like, this is a weird conversation. This lady's kind of a weird conversationalist. She's not very good at this online chat thing. And I just attributed it to this person isn't very good at this online chat thing. And then the ask came. And I was like, oh shit, I'm being catfished, right? And it was this light bulb moment. I had no idea. And I was like, oh, that's what's going on. And then, of course, I was interested. Then I was like, okay, tell me more. Let's reel it in a little. Let's see what they do. And it became really fascinating. Yeah.
So, okay. So the light bulb went off,
Yes.
which is an interesting moment in itself.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think it has a lot to do with this money thing.
Yeah. And it's just, I hadn't thought in those terms. Like, and this is one of the things they say about social media. This is why people who are trained not to fall for phishing will fall for SMS phishing, or because the context is different, right? So I would be Mr. I can spot a phishing email a million miles away. In this different context, I wasn't looking for that. And now that I am, I actually can kind of smell them.
Very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, I'll get into a little, it doesn't much matter. It was the, chatting online, getting to the point where, it's time to say, hey, do you want to get a coffee? And then suddenly it's, oh, I got to go out of town. Sorry, my mom is sick. I'll let you know. Right. So that's first caution right there. And I didn't include it on that. Oh, sick mom. I'm so sorry for you. Then it was, oh, I took my mom to the hospital. It's really bad and she needs a surgery and it's a really problem. And I need $2,200 and I just don't have it. Right. And that's where I said, oh, we know what comes next is the ask. So at that point now I'm trying to get, so I said, oh, what are you going to do? Oh, I just don't have it. I'm going to have it at the end of the month, but she needs the surgery now. I'm going to have it at the end of the month. Says, well, what are you going to do? Well, can you lend it to me? Oh. And I'll pay you back at the end of the month. And I go, there you go. There's the hook, right?
Oh.
Yeah. And at that point, everything else made sense, right? The inability to have the online conversation, the never being available for the scheduled phone calls. Hey, let's have a phone call. Okay, Tuesday night at 9. And then at 8:50, I get something. Oh, I have a problem and I can't talk tonight, right? And all of a sudden, it all comes clear, right? And so it was fascinating, right? And there are these pictures, but they just ripped that off of somebody's Facebook, right? That's easy enough to do. That doesn't mean anything. And so some poor individual has their pictures stuck in this catfishing site and they have no idea, right? And I have to imagine, right? These were people who are in my cohort, my region. I mean, they're not people. These are pretend people who are in my geographic region. They were in my age band. They were in all of these other things. You've got to imagine that a bunch of these different profiles are being built for every possible target, right? And that someone, 20 years younger than me is getting a 20 years younger supposed bait, right? And it's still a very, from what I can tell, a very human-driven individual thing. I think that these are people that are sitting at keyboards that are doing this. Now, I will say the English is broken and poor. And originally I was attributing that to someone's typing on their phone with two thumbs and they just suck at this. Right? But I'm like, no, I think they suck at English. Right? So they're not native English speakers. You can imagine the countries they might be in because, the internet is everywhere and these pictures are easy. You just get some pictures from someone's Facebook. It's also why they won't talk on the phone because it will be obvious. And this must work enough that this is a viable career for somebody.
That's the point. It works enough.
Right. It doesn't have to work a lot if you're living somewhere where the currency conversion ratio is very much to your favor.
Yep.
Right. If you're living somewhere where it's much cheaper to live than North America or Europe, you don't have to glean as much money as you would if you were trying to do the same thing and you lived in New York City. Right. And so that's probably where certainly the ones I've encountered are. Right.
Yeah. I bet you the amount they asked for would have been like fortune.
So, and now let me give you the twist. Okay. So, like I said, I'm at the point now I think I'm pretty good at smelling them. And I see these things, I go, and I've learned, I think, what I need to learn. So I'm not indulging them anymore. Like the interest, the learning value is pretty much gone. So I just shut them down. But I get this one just a couple weeks ago. And I'm looking at these pictures. Suddenly I realized, oh my God, these pictures are AI generated.
Oh.
We have moved to the new era in catfishing.
I bet you their English is better.
Well, and that's what I was thinking. Well, because I had kind of been thinking, why is a human at the keyboard doing this at all? Right? Why hasn't somebody just hooked this up to an AI prompt and they can run it cheaper all day, every day with better quality results without the broken English?
Catfishingasaservice.com.
Catfishing as a service, right? And so when I saw this and these images, and I won't get into why, but I'm pretty confident these were AI generated. It's not because they had too many fingers or something. It was just sort of the quality of how they were staged and what the people were doing. Like in real life, you get a whole lot of selfies, or a whole lot of my friend took a picture of me in front of the monument, right? These were all kind of these, what's the word I'm looking for? Candid, real life, caught in the moment. I'm standing there with my friends, with my beautiful friends, and we all have a glass of wine in our hand, and we're all having a spontaneous laugh. And that's just not the pictures you get in real life. These were definitely either post photo shoots or AI, right? They weren't post photo shoots. So these were AI. And so I'm imagining moving into a world where high quality, AI powered catfishing is a thing. And I don't know how these platforms are going to deal with that.
They're not.
It could be a big problem. Like it could really disrupt the quality.
Yeah, it's going to be whack-a-mole.
Of this whole very major part of a lot of people's lifestyle. Like online dating is so popular for how to meet people. And if people want to continue to meet people, and if the online dating experience gets essentially DDoSed by bots, what are people going to do?
Yeah, if the experience is going to be that bad for everyone, then eventually, the customer base is going to go,
they're just going to say this is a waste of my time. And they're going to stop doing it. Right. And then what? It gets back to bars. Like, then what?
Oh my God.
Right?
They're going to go meet people?
In the world.
What kind of crazy crap is that?
Go out and leave your door. I mean, who would do that? So, yeah, it's just all interesting. Not my industry in any way, not my problem, but just a thing that I was seeing. And like you said, Jay, it ties into so much of what we talk about.
I even figured out another thing it ties into.
Yeah.
You and I on this podcast declared you cannot trust voice, face.
Absolutely.
Any form of biometric.
Thank you. That was the thing I meant to say, and I forgot to say, which is right now the strategy is I try to find ways to sneak out of having a voice conversation with you because you realize I'm a dude from Vietnam, right? Or sneak out of having a FaceTime conversation with you because you're going to see me. There are tools available today that will change your voice and your appearance in real time that are economically well within the reach of somebody who's in this line of business.
Tim, how long until those catfishers figures out that 11 Labs exists?
Yeah.
And they can have a conversation with you.
Absolutely.
And you're going to be like, man, not only is their picture awesome, but man, talk to this.
Yeah, and I love that sultry voice. and you're a great conversationalist. And how is it that you know so much about postmodernism, which happens to be the one thing I mentioned I care about? Right, exactly.
Oh, she's going to weave her way right into your mind.
Absolutely. And so I had a friend when I got asked for the $2,200, a friend of mine, I told this joke with a smile to my friend, a friend of mine. He goes, what you should do is you should say, I have it. I'm happy to give it to you. I have a bag full of cash. Meet me at this Starbucks at this time. And I thought that was funny, but I said, but I'm not going to go sit at a Starbucks for no reason, knowing that the non-existent person isn't going to meet me. But that's what it's going to be down to. Like I think it's going to get to the, how do you prove you're real? It's going to be back to, I need to physically see you in meat space before I know you're real.
I'm going to add one more thought to this, just because this is
glad
great.
we're doing this.
What a great topic.
Yeah.
Okay. Talk about, the natural emotional response of a person to a person.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And, these sites that you're talking about play on that because there's pictures and other things, and you have a response.
Yeah.
Well, what happens when even like 20% of it all is catfishing?
Right.
What happens when it's 25%?
Good point. You get taught not to have that real human connection response. Just like nowadays, if you and I see an article or a supposed picture or a video and it seems far-fetched, instead of getting upset or outraged or elated, our first thought is skepticism.
Oh, yeah.
We go directly to skepticism first. And it kind of has to be proven to me that it's real before I can move into those other emotions. And then I have that much less of those because the novelty of it is gone and I've already kind of gotten used to the idea. And so the impactfulness of a supposed news item or a video or a picture has just gone down. The emotional impact has gone down. You're absolutely right. I think the emotional impact of meeting a legitimate real world person, when you have to start by suspecting that they're not real, and this applies to probably more than online dating. It applies to anything where you're meeting someone and you have to ask yourself, is this real?
What happens if it starts to affect all of news?
Right.
All of advertising?
Yeah.
Where it's fake. Advertising and news is all about your emotions.
Yeah. Right.
What you're talking about is just another case.
Mm-hmm.
And so here's where I'm going to land on this one, Tim. My final thought in reaction to you is, I have a feeling that the younger generations figured out this problem a while ago. In other words, we're landing on something that I think younger generations could have articulated even a while ago in different words. We're thinking about it in systems thinking.
Yeah, right.
And they thought about it in terms of just how life works. Yeah. And I've heard young people go, oh, that's gone. It's blown up. And I didn't quite understand what they meant. Like, was it just the quality of the people or what? And I realized, oh, maybe the emotional impact's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's what they meant when they said that these connection sites are no longer really viable for their generation.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is rough because if you look at the statistics of it, the younger you are, the more likely you are to favor online connection sites over real world connections, right?
Seems to be the trend.
One of the okay boomer things is I want to go to a room with other human beings and actually look at the human beings without a screen in the way. And some 20 something will say, okay boomer, right? So that group, the okay boomer group, is the group that suffers from this the most.
And we're just below that group.
Yes, right? I'm not a boomer, but I'm a boomer in their eyes. So there you are. We all look the same.
We're boomer-esque.
So, and I mean, no pithy conclusion, but I just think the whole thing is fascinating and interesting. And it is yet another one of these unforeseen consequences, right? When these technology changes happen, one of the things that always happens is we're surprised in the way it manifests itself in things that we never would have imagined. And I absolutely had never in a million years, until I saw it with my eyes, considered that one of the consequences of AIs was going to be a foundational change in the way that the catfishing attack works and its consequences on the online dating world. And yet I am now firmly convinced that that is an inevitable outcome of this. So there you go.
Wow.
Wow.
And I will tell you, Tim, this is, we recorded a lot of podcasts today. We're wrapping up.
We're burned. I'm burned out.
And so this a little bit, we're breaking the fourth wall here, talking about the fact that we're going through a recording process, which is great. We had a great day. This was the longest podcast we did today, by the way.
Was it? Okay.
And
well, I had fun.
I'm also going to say that it was maybe down the center of identity.
It was.
Maybe more than anything else we recorded today.
It was. It's why I wanted to talk about it. It's fundamentally an online identity story.
Deep fake.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, exactly. The problem of how do you know? 100%.
Thank you so much for sharing.
Thanks, Jay.